All right, we are back live. I'm going to wait just a second. Let's see if we get a couple of people back on. I'm going to get on Facebook too, just see real quick.
Sure.
Because you
Well,
have so many good things to say, and I'm just so
oh,
bummed that I got caught. We're going to have to redo this because I want a full nice one. But let me see.
no problem. Not at all.
Oh, that's the other one. So let me see. There's somebody. Okay, Diana Decker, thank you for getting back on. Yay, I appreciate it.
Yay. Oh, a
Okay.
namesake. Hi, Diana.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. No, we had Teresa on, we had Marty on, we had Faith on, we had a couple of Diane, we had Denise on. So we did have. So hopefully other people will get back on. But
Oh,
we'll just
yeah.
kind of pick up where we left off, and then
Sure.
they'll just hopefully join us. But just to kind of say a sentence. So Diana was just explaining a little bit to us about what she does as the business profit coach and as the profitability lawyer. And actually, you didn't talk about that yet. Maybe you'll talk about the profitable lawyer in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just kind of want to know from my ladies, do you work in the profit coach? Do you work with a lot of midlife women, or even with the attorneys? Do you find that there's a lot of midlife entrepreneurs or midlife attorneys that you are just attracted to you, that you find that you're working with? And what are some
Yeah.
of that's kind of what I figured. I think that a lot of times we attract what we put out there,
Well,
and
I
so.
think yeah, exactly. Just like you and I learned in that class, Science of Getting Rich, you attract people that are at your vibration, so to speak. And I'm in a second chapter, so I tend to attract second chapter people. Yeah.
So then what do you find, like, specifically, because I know, I mean, doing what I do, and and in the women that I speak to, that money, even my own self, because you and I have had many conversations, there's a lot of, sometimes fears around money, yuckiness around money, you don't want to talk about money, all that kind of stuff. So, both in business and in our personal lives. So what are some of the things that you kind of have, heard from other women? What are some of the fears, and like, where do they come from ultimately?
Well, I don't know if you're going to use the slide or not, but I'll go ahead and talk about one of the things there. One of the things that, as I've spoken to business women, is up. There she is, Sandy. That's my favorite. She's Sandy the ostrich. Why? Because a lot of us tend to stick our head in the sand when it comes to money. So I use Sandy as my prototype. And what she's saying there is that 40% of women feel overwhelmed and discouraged when they talk about money, and that only 9% of women feel positive talking about their money and their future, etc. And I believe we have another slide that talks about that 61% of women would rather talk about death than money with a friend. Now that's with a friend. So we really do have some kind of issue when it comes to money. A lot of us do. Where does that come from? Well, I'm not a degreed psychologist. I do not do therapy. But this is what I have found in my own meanderings around and the number of people I've coached and the number of people I've spoken to. There tends to be like money trauma. And the five that I have found that are the ones that seem to come up most often are, first of all, if money was associated with an important relationship that broke up. So if mom and dad broke up over many things, but money was part of it, that can cause a child to be very suspicious or nervous about money. Or as an adult, uh, 71% of divorces cite that money was a factor in the divorce, whether they didn't agree on spending, or they didn't agree on saving, or they didn't agree on how money was allocated or money was used to control. And I think that's one of the next ones. So when something traumatic like a divorce happens and money is associated with it, we're just human, right? We tend to associate those things. The other thing that I mentioned earlier is that parents can sometimes give children a feeling about money that makes them very uncomfortable and they may not understand it. So things like, the ladies in my age category, some of our parents were alive during the Great Depression. And so they had some real money issues and based on a real life experience for them. And so they unwittingly pass that information on to us as children. Things like, well, money is hard to come by. And that no one's going to give you money. You have to go out and earn it. And it's really hard. And messages like that. So, maybe I'm calling them traumas, but I'm defining trauma as an event that actually affects your behavior after you've experienced that event, which is a psychological definition of trauma. So it's life altering, right? Another thing is that sometimes money can be something that makes us feel inferior. So if you notice sometimes going on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and people are, oh, look at me, I'm in Aruba right now, or look at me, I'm on my boat, or look at me, I just bought these great shoes, and look at me, and this is my life. And it may not be traumatic, but it can be kind of uncomfortable when you're like, well, I can't afford to go to Aruba and I can't afford to buy shoes like that. And we don't have enough money for me to be able to do those things. So there's a feeling of huge discomfort and shame when it comes to money. So here, money, which is really an energy, it's just an energy. It doesn't love you and it doesn't hate you. It just is. But we develop a relationship where we love it or we hate it, or we want it or we don't want it. We feel worthy of it or we don't feel worthy of it. We just have this relationship that's so complicated with money. And so I find this over and over. And like I said earlier, it spills out into the way women business owners will run their business. It's exactly the same way. In my particular case, we didn't have a lot of money, but we weren't by any stretch poor. But my mom used to use money as a reward and often used it as, well, I'm going to give you your allowance this week, but truth is you don't deserve it. So and she was trying to make a point that I hadn't done one of my chores or something like that. My point is that I internalized receiving money with performance and with behavior and with worth. That was my particular money paradigm or the way I looked at money. So if I didn't get a raise, then I wasn't worthy. If someone, if like a guy took me out and he didn't have a lot of money and he didn't spend much money on me, it's like, well, he must not think much of me. I mean, I just kept associating money with worth. Oh, but if he spent a lot of money on me, oh my gosh, he took me to a really nice place or whatever, I thought he liked me more. So that's so warped. I see that now at age 62, but when you're in your 20s and stuff, you don't have the experience to kind of look back on those things. So money can really affect you, and it carries, and your traumas and issues with money can just bleed into everything you do. And everything then becomes a fulfilling prophecy. So if you believe that there's not enough money to go around, let's say that's your trauma, or that's your belief system, or your limiting belief, there's just not enough money. There's the 1%, they have all the money. The rest of us have to fight for it. Well, if that happens to be your belief system, then money's hard to find, money's hard to get. You've got to hang on to it because only a few get it. And as you can see by the way money is distributed, that is how many people believe. That's what they believe, is that, well, money is controlled by a few. Few people can have money. The rest of us, we have to work hard. We have to suffer and scrape and whatever. We fill our minds with these mantras that we've learned, and when sometimes we continue to traumatize ourselves every single day because of it. So in my practice, one of the things that I found is I created a document, and I think we're going to offer it in a few minutes as a freebie, because it's a journaling exercise that I put together, and I did it based on a book called The Energy of Money, and there's a lot of that woman's questions in my PDF. But The Energy of Money, there it is. Download it going to my website. The Energy of Money is a journaling exercise. It asks you questions like, when did you first hear about money? When's the first time you earned your own money? Did you ever get a whole bunch of money that was unexpected? Or did you ever lose a whole lot of money and that was also unexpected? So it's a lot of journaling prompts that allow you to dig down and maybe get a bit of a clue as to where your money, shall we say, limiting beliefs are. Are you there,
I love that, because I think that it's really, I am. You can't hear me again?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you. It's
You're
good.
all broken up
There was
though,
a
a little
delay.
bit.
There was a delay there.
Okay, there you are. But I don't know, who knows? I know storming around me a little bit, so that it could be on my end. But I love that tool that you're giving to people, because I think that we need these things, right? We need some. We don't think about things like, well, what was my memories, or what was my loss, or things like that. So to have these journal prompts, I think, is an awesome thing. Are you there?
I am. Yeah, I am. I went through obviously
Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, you're just moving slow.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? You good? So the thing
Just
about this
you got
journaling.
bumped off again, maybe on my side, back again. Okay.
Oh, yeah, the thing about in case people can hear me, the thing about the journaling is that it was very eye-opening. I thought I had a pretty good handle after I went through that situation with my husband and I got my act together and I did become financially empowered. I ended up teaching myself everything I needed to know about money. And so I went on, like you talked about in my introduction, you talked about the fact that I believe in self-improvement. Well, yeah, I read everything. I bought books, I read everything, I listened to videos. And then I started to reach out to friends of mine who looked like they were managing their money well. And I just asked them to give me their best advice and what would they do if they were starting over and so on and so forth. So I learned a lot about managing my own money. And so I ended up managing my own financials. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. Now, I don't know if we're going to touch on it, but I'll do it now if that's okay with you. There's a little bit of a twist to the story that I began earlier, which was the one about being in the boardroom, sitting across the table from my soon-to-be ex-husband. So we ended up divorcing, obviously, and I decided to move to Florida from up north. And I moved down to Florida, bought a house, didn't know anyone in the area. I just needed to.
Up north, by the way, is Canada, people. It's not. It's a different country.
It's the true north. Yeah.
The truth.
It's the true north. And I moved down here and I put my life back together. So, yeah, on many areas, not just the financials, but I put my life back together as a woman going in midlife, going through a very upsetting time. I had to get new female relationships. I talked about that already. I didn't know anyone in this area. Long story how I got here. So I won't go into it, but I ended up in this place. It's beautiful, but whoa, I don't have any support systems. So I had to learn and get my own support systems and so on and so forth. I had to create myself in midlife. And after 3 years where I was doing very well, meaning I had great friends and I was managing my money and I was still running. I actually got to run the Boston Marathon in 2014. And Jill, you had a lot to do with my going there that day. I don't know if you remember a comment you made in my living room. It changed my life.
I do remember.
Yeah, that was life-changing, your comment. And it was it was incredible because I felt for the first time I was truly empowered. It wasn't a fake empowerment that I would put on just to go to work. I wore a lot of blazers. That was my thing. I wore blazers and, and nice shirts. And so my blazer was like my armor, and I would put that on and I looked empowered and I acted empowered. And I probably believed I was empowered. Gosh, doggies. But let me tell you, when everything fell apart, I realized that certain parts of my life I was indeed empowered and certain parts I was not. And that was a tough day, week, month, year. And I began to rebuild. So the financial side was part of what I rebuilt. 3 years later, I reconnected with my ex-husband. It had been a very difficult divorce. We had not been speaking to one another except through attorneys. We were not talking to one another. But I reconnected with him, and we had a very healing conversation that needed to happen for me to be truly whole again. And it ended up, one thing led to another. We ended up dating, and then he told me, he said, I'd never wanted to lose you to begin with. So we ended up remarrying. And that's a great story, but I got to share with you guys because I got to share this with you. Money had been a control issue in our relationship because he was a smart one. He knew everything about the money. So I was given an allowance kind of thing and said, here, you go do that, and then I'll take care of everything else. It wasn't meant to be malicious, but it was stifling. So when we got back together, there had to be new ground rules on many things. And one of the things that we did was we kept our money separate, and I still manage my own money. Now, I'm not saying that from a position of anger and like, no way, you're not managing my money. No, 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 no. There's been a great deal of healing. There's been a great deal of both sides knowing exactly what they had done to create the situation that had been created. He never asked for it, but we both discussed it and said, yeah, you know what? Let's keep it separate. You manage your money and I'll manage mine. And I share everything with him. I tell him everything because who wouldn't? He's pretty damn smart. Why wouldn't you talk to him? But I still make the decisions. So I share that because you can be empowered. You can have a great relationship with someone and still be responsible for yourself in all areas, not just in some areas, but in all areas, if you choose to. And I know that's the theme of your
I
group.
love that. And I'm gonna, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, I'm listening to you talk about all of that, and I'm sitting here at 50 years old, and my husband still does the finances house and is in charge. And you and I, about 9 months ago, I think I joined, it was a 30-day program of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And about the jump starting and learning how to work with your own money, right? And I had a lot of resistance around that. And, you were trying to help me get organized in my business because I want to, get organized in this area, even though my husband's managing the finance the family. And I was like, QuickBooks, no way, and Excel sheets, no way. And you just told me grab a pen and a pencil if you nothing, and don't let the tech get in your way. And it helped for me. And I will let you know that very excitingly, I did have QuickBooks for me, and now I am all, and it has been very empowering for me. And I just want, what are some of those empowering things that you're seeing from other people? When they get gain that control of their finances. Because I know for me, over into a lot of other areas, I'm willing to spend money where I wouldn't, or things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing about money is that we load it up with emotion and fears or whatever it is we load it up with. And then when we strip it away and just look at it as data, as information, and as an energy, it's just an energy. Um, it just it just lifts your burdens are lifted a bit, and you are able to bring that renewed confidence into other areas. So now, you know what? I know exactly what my numbers are. I don't have to be in fear if I don't get that sale, or if,
Yeah.
if I have to close my business, or COVID for that matter, right? How many people, because one of the things we talked about in class, I don't know if you implemented it, is to put together a reserve account for your business and be putting money in there every month, so that when moments like COVID come, you can still keep your business running, even though on a much diminished level, but you're not out of business. And so how empowering is that? That when you come out of COVID, you're still here. You're still here. To me,
Yeah.
that's the value of knowing how to manage your money.
Yeah.
Is you can survive when things
It is.
get
It's
tough,
something.
and when things go ahead. Yeah,
We're
we're
on a
breaking
slight
it up.
delay, you and I, right now, unfortunately. Yeah. I agree. And I think that, so if there are women who are listening right now, who wanted to start a business, so, I have a lot of ladies here who already have a small, they're doing a multi-level marketing, or they have a small business, or they're helping their husband, or I have ladies who are just kind of looking to do something new. So what would be, for a brand new person, maybe just want to get into business? Do you have some kind of advice to maybe set themselves up for that financial success?
Definitely. I definitely do. We all learn differently, right? Some people can grab a book and work their way through it and follow instructions and learn from written materials. Some people need to hear audios. We all learn differently. However you choose to learn, may I suggest you educate yourself using whatever means you would like. So for me, for example, I read, I should have pulled it out. It's behind me and I don't want to make all this. Anyway, there's a book by Susie Orman called Women and Money. Fabulous book. David Bach is incredible. He wrote The Latte Factor, Smart Women Finish Rich. Great book. And it's very simple to read and understand. Start there, maybe listen to it on audio if you're an Audible learner. If you are more of a tactical learner, then, buy the book and read it. Educate yourself, learn, ask questions. And then the next thing I would do is, once I have done that, I would create, and they'll both tell you to do this in their books, I would create your balance sheet. Your balance sheet is like what every balance sheet is for any corporation. It's your assets. In other words, what do you own? And by the way, our clothes and our shoes and our purses are worthless in the market, so please don't count them. But anything that's an asset, like a home or investments or things like that, minus whatever you owe. That includes student loans, mortgages, etc. The difference is what's your net worth. That's financial net worth, not personal net worth, obviously. But find out what your net worth is. And when you have that number, whatever it is, my suggestion is you go to a trusted financial advisor and you say, here are my assets, here's what I owe, and here are my goals that I would like to accomplish. Help me put a plan together. Now, after you do that, don't sign up right away. Say, thank you so much. Go home and research that and make sure that that suits your needs and it fulfills what you want from your financial life. And that's how I would at least start.
That's really good advice because, yeah, and I like when you say go home and don't do it then because, a lot of times someone's right in front of you and you just, you want to do the public thing or you want to, and you're not really doing what's in your best interest. You're doing what you think is the right thing, spend time with you. But people, that's their business is to teach you, and you have to do what's best for you and your life and your business. So I love that idea just to take some time and make that fit.
Well,
So if somebody is, watching, whether they're an entrepreneur, sorry.
No, I was going to say it's just like your health, right?
Continue what you're going to say, Diana.
Yeah, it's just like your health. If you were to get some kind of diagnosis, you would want a second opinion, just to make sure, because they're asking you to go under a treatment plan or something like that. So it's the same thing with your financial health. Get a second opinion. These financial advisors and people that are in that industry are amazing people, and they have a lot of education and so on and so forth, but they're there to serve you. So, let them serve you. By gosh,
Yeah.
That's what they're there for. So let them serve you, get several opinions, and then you go home and think about it.
Yeah, no, I love that because I know that, especially, if you're already uncomfortable, and not really knowing what you're not feeling your smartest in that room and you're feeling a little intimidated and all of that, it sometimes is hard just to walk away. So that's something actually that's what I'm going to file over for myself because I sometimes have a tendency just to want to do the right thing and sign up with somebody because they just helped me when necessarily it wasn't my best decision.
Right.
So. All right. So let me ask you another question here real quick. So if somebody is watching who is, let's say, either an entrepreneur, because I know your business is specifically working with entrepreneurs and attorneys. You're really not in the personal financial realm, but I do have a lot of women on here who are entrepreneurs and attorneys as well. So, if they think that they want to maybe work with you or get in touch with you, there's one way I know right there you guys can see scrolling across the screen. Hopefully with all of this breaking up, it's showing up there good. But you can download Diana's free gift right there, and that will help you get connected. But do you have a Facebook group or something where somebody can reach you and just kind of see your beautiful smile and hear all your words of inspiration on a regular basis?
Yep, I am. I have a business page. It's the Business Profit Coach. So that's on Facebook. Okay. And I also have a group that is called the Business Profit Society. You're welcome. I'd love to have you join that. But you can, there it is on the screen. Join the Facebook group, the Business Profit Society, where I share stories. Yep, I share stories. I also share tips and stuff about profitability in your business, etc. But my website is also a great place to get a hold of me. I think my telephone number is right on it. And if not, you can just send me an email using the contact me. So it's, by all means, go to my website, dianamiret.com. Happy to get to know you.
Awesome. Well, Diana, I just want to thank you. I know it's been a little bit, techie stuff, and thank goodness it happened with a friend, right, who can understand, and who's probably, does these as well, and it just happens. What can you do? But yeah. I appreciate you rolling with the punches because what you have to say is just is so important, I think, for us, women to hear. I think that, talking about money, the more we talk about it, the more comfortable we get with it, the more comfortable we get with it, the more we attract to us, right?
That's
So
right.
are there any finds that you just want to share with everybody? Yeah, just what are some final thoughts that you might just want to share, just to kind of wrap us all up a little bit here?
Then your net worth does not determine your self-worth. Just keep that in mind. You may have to dig yourself out
I love that.
or establish a foundation, but that's just about money. It's not about your self-worth. It's not about what you're worth as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a individual. You are priceless. You are absolutely priceless. Money is just what we need to navigate this life. So just use it as that. It is not your self-worth. It's only your net worth. Please don't forget.
I love that. I love that, love that. And that is definitely all about Women with Mojo, right? That is
Yeah.
definitely something very empowering for us all to hear. So Diana, I'm even on my end right now. That's why things are even trying to take you off screen or me off screen while you're seeing stuff go on. I'm going to try and take you off screen and just
Okay.
wrap this up a little bit. But I wanted
Fire.
to thank you so much for being here, and maybe on another topic about money that we can talk about, to help the women in this group. But ladies, as you know, Diana also is a member of a group, so also you'll probably see her in there as well. But
Yeah.
I'm happy that you have come so far, and I just look forward to all the wonderful things and all that you're going to do and all the people that you're going to help out there. And really are, a true woman with mojo.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill, for this opportunity. What a
Right,
gift.
so
What a
let me
gift.
see how I can. You're welcome. All right. All right, I'm going to take you off now. And just ladies,
Okay.
hang in with me just 1 second. See if I can do this. We'll see. All right, that went. All right, now hold on one more second here. Oh no, there we go. Well, I had a nice little video at the end to exit us out, but I'm not going to bother because of the tech difficulties today. But I thank all of you guys, Diana Decker, who is on here. I don't know if anybody else got back on, but for those of you who are watching the replay later, there's 2 sections to this, so make sure you go back and watch the first half, because Diana Miret had a lot of fantastic things to say and to share with us all today. And join us next month. I'm going to try to do these every single month. This is our second one that we've had with the Women with Mo, conversations with extraordinary, inspirational women over 40. And if you are not yet connected with the Midlife Mojo Facebook group, and you're watching this in some other social media, please connect with my group on Facebook. I'll put the link in the own mojo and shine your light on the world. Thanks so much for kind of putting up with all the techie stuff today, and hopefully it just gets better, and next month will be a little bit smoother. Have a great night, everybody.